slide number 11.
Okay, okay. Alrighty. You have been given the responsibility of deciding which access control to use. Which of the following is one of your options? Audit trail, biometrics, authentication, or mitigation. You have been given the responsibility of deciding which access control to use. Which of the following is one of your options? And I'm going to let you answer that one, Karen, because that's.
Okay. Well, let's go back to what we were talking about access control.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, access tools, access controls. These are technical safeguards. Um, it says that access control is the ability to control which users can access the system and what a user can view. Um, the term used to describe this is role-based access control. This type of control may be also referred to as the need-to-know basis. Usually, access is granted on the basis of two criteria: the role of a user and the permitted roles for specific information access. So, um, it wouldn't be audit trail because audit trail is, is auditing how many times like you're in and out of the system. So that is that you're already in the system with audit trail. Biometrics is a unique measurable characteristic or trait of the human being that can be used for automatic recognition or identity verification. A biometric device is capable of analyzing human characteristics for security purposes. That could be one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to give the answer until I finish the question. And authentication is is the process of verifying or confirming the identity of a user who is requesting access to the information. It's usually based on various criteria: something that you know, which is a password; something that you have, a key, a credit card; something that is a part of you, your fingerprint, DNA sequence; or something indicated where you are located. That could
Mm-hmm.
be a possibility also. And it wouldn't be mitigation. I'm trying to think if I can remember what mitigation is. That seems to me that is organizing um, data, and I don't think I cannot find it. Why it's not that? Yeah, and it doesn't say anything in this booklet about medication. So I think that it is between B and C.
Mm.
And again, reviewing the question, you have been given the responsibility of deciding which access control to use. Which of the following is one of your options? Well, it is the answer is biometrics.
Okay.
And I think that might be a good reason and a good answer to this question, because biometrics, don't forget, is information, and it allows you to get access into a system on a trait of a human being that can be used for automatic recognition or identity verification. I would think that would probably be the
Okay.
easiest way to gain access control with these biometrics, because it's very unique and it's a measurable characteristic. And
Okay.
probably that I would think that would be my because you forget there again I'm going to healthcare facility again, because that health information management is about. I believe that it would be that And whether it's an eye scan or because sometimes we have that at my job. There are so many employees that when they do an eye scan, it's immeasurable and it's a unique characteristic of an individual who wants to gain access into a secure area.
Mm.
That's what a biometric is.
Okay.
And if anything goes wrong, they know exactly who they can do. They can go back and do an audit trail. And they can find out who was it that, let's say, was granted access that shouldn't have been there.
Oh.
They can get through. All they need to do is just look at the biometrics, the trace, if it's an eye scan, and they just find out that's not Karen Cramer's identity or her characteristic or trait of Karen Cramer.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Makes sense. Makes perfectly good sense. Awesome. Okay. Let's see here. We have a total of 26 slides. So you wanna keep going all the way through?
Yeah. How about, okay, you want to, unless we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more slides, 6 more slides to do.
Okay. Okay. 'Cause I didn't know what your time constraint consisted of, so I just wanted to be aware of that. Okay. The next one is your organization is sending confidential patient information across the internet using technology that will transform the original data into data that can be recreated by authorized users. This technique is called A, a firewall, B, validity processing, C, a callback process, or D, data encryption. And we've already read about data encryption before. So let me read the question again. Your organization is sending confidential patient information across the internet using technology that would transform the original data into data that can be created by authorized users. This technique is called a firewall or validity processing or a callback process or data encryption.
Now don't forget, look at the keyword recreated. Remember, we were just talking about that with um, one particular method here of the authentication tools. We were just talking about it.
Okay.
So think back that in its secure data, and it has to come. It gets sent one way, and it comes back. They need to have somebody go in and recreate it, and it comes back another way.
Mhm. Mhm. Um, I remember you reading about about encryption.
Right. Exactly.
So the answer would be data encryption.
Exactly.
Okay.
As it says, um, the technology that will transform the original data into data that can be recreated. It goes encrypted into the computer system, and then somebody has to decrypt it by authorized users.
Yes.
So this technique is called data encryption.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Okay. The next
And,
slide.
uh,
Um, go ahead.
okay, the surgeon comes out to speak to a patient's family. He tells them that the patient came through the surgery fine. The mask was benign, and they could see the patient in an hour. He talks low that the other people in the waiting room will not hear that someone walked by and heard. This is called a breach of security, which is A, violation of policy, B, which is incidental disclosure, or D, which is privacy incident. What do you tell? What do you think?
Mm. Mm.
Think of it as it's an isolated incident. So that should help first of all. And it doesn't, it doesn't happen all the time.
Mhm.
It's it's not really violating anything, but it's not. It is in some way, but it's not violent, really violating a policy.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
so that,
And he's telling them low so that no one would not hear them when they walk by, but yet they heard.
right. I mean, he knows he's aware of the HIPAA, the violation. So he knows that really that, but he's really basically coming out and he's not disclosing something information that they shouldn't know. Because patients have a right to know
Mhm.
about the outcome of the surgery.
Mhm. Mhm.
So he's basically telling them this is what's wrong. And I mean, he's not telling them outside the hospital. He's only telling them in a bar. He's not telling them in a restaurant. He's telling them that in a place where a healthcare organization that this is the outcome of the surgery. And it's an isolated incident.
Mhm. Mhm.
So um, it's not really a privacy incident because um, the information, yes, is about the patient, and it is supposed to be patient or private about the patient, yes, but he has to relay the information to the family. So, it is private to a certain degree, but the people have a right to know what is some of the surgery.
Okay, so I would say it's privacy incident.
Actually, it's incidental.
Disclosure. Oh.
Let me see.
Oh. Okay. Yes,
Oh,
it is. It is. It is.
yeah,
It is. He's disclosing information, but it happens to be based on an incident.
right. It's kind of an isolated incident, you know. I mean, it's not every day that like he walks in every day and he tells them. He's basically telling them they have a right to know information. Um, it's oral and verbal, so it's not like anybody's really violating anything by going into their personal health record and viewing what is wrong with them. He's a surgeon, which means he's part of the medical staff of the organization, and he's just disclosing information about the outcomes of the surgery to the patient's family.
Okay.
Because somebody walked by and heard it, it's really not his fault.
Right. That's right. Okay. Makes sense, Karen. It does. It makes sense.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, the next one then is number 43 about Rachel.
Okay. Go ahead.
Progress notes in the patient's electronic health record. There, a coder can view the progress notes, but is not authorized to write a true. What controls this? A, authentication. B, two-factor authentication. C, biometrics. Or D, which is based access control. Well, it's not authentication because, well, it would be because most people have authentication tools where they can go in and they can view the patient's record. But what they want to know is that who's not authorized to write a progress note. Well, we have clinical backgrounds, but we don't have a license where we can go in and look at the patient and examine the patient and write about the progress note. We haven't gone on the floor to check the patient. We're certainly not RN. So the two-factor authentications, remember, is a password and it's the key card. That one goes hand in hand, like your husband has the key card. Remember that was a tool
Mm-hmm.
also, but they were worried, or the token. I'm sorry, the password and the token. But the healthcare organization, according to the book, says that they worry about the tokens being lost. Well, that has nothing to do with rewriting the progress note. Biometrics, don't forget, is unique, identifiable characteristics of a person that gains access into a secure, either an environment or secure record.
Mm-hmm.